6-year-old, vanished at Disney World in 1999, 20 years later. Former employee reveals what really happened in July 1999. 6-year-old Emma Rodriguez vanished without a trace from Disney World's Magic Kingdom. What a former Disney employee revealed 20 years later will shock you. This is the haunting story of Emma Rodriguez, a case that proves that some missing child cases hold secrets darker than anyone could imagine. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover about this child disappearance case will shock you. Emma Rodriguez was everything you imagine when you think of childhood innocence. 6 years old, with bright brown eyes and a smile that lit up any room. This missing children story begins in Orlando, Florida, where Emma lived with her parents, Maria and Carlos Rodriguez. For the Rodriguez family, Disney World wasn't just a tourist destination, it was their backyard playground. Carlos worked as a mechanic at a Toyota dealership, and Maria taught at the local elementary school. They saved every penny for annual passes, making Disney World their family getaway. Emma was obsessed with Disney princesses, but Belle was her absolute favorite. She knew every word to Beauty and the Beast and would perform the entire movie for anyone willing to watch. Her room was filled with Belle merchandiser, yellow dress, a singing teapot, books everywhere, just like her beloved character. July 15, 1999, started out like any other summer day for the Rodriguez family. It was Maria's birthday, and they decided to celebrate with a full day at the Magic Kingdom. Emma woke up at 5 a.m., too excited to sleep. Wearing her Belle costume and clutching her favorite Beauty and the Beast book, they arrived at Disney World at 8:30 a.m., just before the park opened. Security cameras captured them entering through the main turnstiles, Emma skipping between her parents, her yellow Belle dress flowing behind her like a real princess. For the first 6 hours, everything was perfect. They rode the Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and met Mickey Mouse. Emma's laughter echoed through the park as she experienced the magic Disney promised every child who walked through those gates. But at 2:47 p.m., in the middle of the happiest place on earth, Emma Rodriguez would disappear without a trace, launching one of the most extensive missing child investigations in Disney World history. What happened next would change everything for the Rodriguez family and expose secrets Disney never wanted the world to know. This child disappearance case would become one of the most disturbing cold cases ever recorded. It was 2:47 p.m. when Maria Rodriguez realized her daughter was missing. They were waiting in line for the It.S.A. Small World attraction Nema's third ride request of the day. Maria remembers the moment with painful clarity. Emma was right next to her, holding her hand, as Carlos went to buy Dole Whips from a nearby vendor. The line was moving slowly, packed with families escaping the Florida heat. "Mummy, I need to use the bathroom," Emma whispered, tugging at Maria's sundress. The nearest bathroom was only 30 feet away, visible from where they stood in line. Maria could see the entrance clearly. "Stay where I can see you, Mia." Maria yelled in Spanish as Emma skipped toward the bathroom. Those were the last words Maria Rodriguez spoke to her daughter. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Maria began to worry. She asked the family behind her to save her place and walked to the bathroom entrance. "Emma, Emma, dear, are you there?" Maria's voice echoed off the tiled walls. She checked each stall, empty, all of them. She ran back to the ride line, hoping Emma had returned. Carlos was back with 3 Dole Whips, looking confused. "Where's Emma?" he asked, the simple question that would haunt them forever. They split up immediately. Carlos ran toward Main Street. Maria headed toward Fantasyland. They were shouting Emma's name, but their voices were drowned out by thousands of other families enjoying their Disney vacation. By 3:15 p.m., just 28 minutes after Emma disappeared, Carlos had found a Disney security officer. Within minutes, the entire Magic Kingdom was on high alert. Though guests had no idea what was happening behind the scenes, Disney's Code Adam protocol went into effect immediately, a system designed for exactly this situation. Every entrance and exit was monitored. Every cast member was given Emma's description. Security cameras throughout the park were being reviewed in real time. But here's what guests didn't know, and what Disney would try to keep secret afterwards. The bathroom where Emma disappeared had a blind spot in its security camera coverage. For 30 seconds, there was no visual record of what happened. Orange County Sheriff's deputies arrived within 45 minutes. The FBI was called within 2 hours. By 6 p.m., the Magic Kingdom was essentially on lockdown, though Disney managed to avoid causing panic among the thousands of families still in the park. Search dogs were brought in. Every trash can, every hidden laundry area, every backstage location was searched. Cast members were interviewed. Security footage from every camera angle was reviewed frame by frame, but Emma Rodriguez had disappeared as if by magic, the wrong kind of magic that Disney never advertised. This missing children case would become one of the most disturbing unsolved cases in history, as the Magic Kingdom closed to guests at 10 p.m. The search continued through the night. Floodlights illuminated areas never intended for public viewing. The happiest place on earth had become the site of every parent's worst nightmare. By dawn on July 16, 1999, it was clear that Emma Rodriguez was not somewhere in Disney World. She had disappeared, but the question that would haunt investigators for the next 20 years was simple. How could a 6-year-old child completely disappear from the most closely guarded and secure family destination in the world? But then, 3 months into the investigation, the police discovered something that changed everything. The discovery that would break this case open was not found at Disney World. It was found 200 miles away, in a storage unit in Jacksonville, Florida, rented by a man who had worked at Disney World for more than 15 years. Inside that unit, investigators found something that would make them question everything they thought they knew about Emma's disappearance. But to understand the significance of what they found, we need to go back to the beginning and examine what really happened during those crucial first hours of this shocking missing children case. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit was called within 72 hours of Emma's child disappearance. Their profile of the perpetrator painted a disturbing picture of this haunting cold case. Agent Sarah Mitchell, who had worked on missing children cases for 12 years, immediately recognized the sophistication of this abduction. This wasn't opportunistic, she told the Rodriguez family during a briefing. Someone planned this. Someone who knew Disney's security protocols, who understood the camera angles, who could move around the park without attracting attention. The investigation focused on three primary theories: an abduction by an outsider familiar with Disney's operations, a custody dispute gone wrong, or human trafficking, a reality that authorities were only beginning to understand in 1999. More than 200 Disney cast members were interviewed. Background checks were run on every employee who had access to the area where Emma disappeared. Polygraph tests were administered to anyone who had interacted with the Rodriguez family that day. But the most chilling discovery came from analyzing the security footage. Disney had more than 400 cameras throughout the Magic Kingdom, but the specific angle needed to see the bathroom entrance had clearly malfunctioned that morning. A technical glitch that Disney claimed was purely coincidental. Maria Rodriguez didn't believe in coincidences. "Someone knew exactly where to take my daughter," she told investigators. This wasn't random. This was planned. This unresolved mystery was becoming darker with each discovery. The case generated national media attention. Emma's face appeared on milk cartons across the country. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created age-progressed photos. America's Most Wanted featured the case 3 separate times. False leads arrived daily. A girl resembling Emma was spotted in Georgia, Texas, California, always just out of reach, always turning out to be someone else's daughter. Each false lead broke the family's heart a little more. The Rodriguez family's marriage began to fracture under the pressure. Carlos blamed himself for leaving them in line. Maria blamed herself for letting Emma go to the bathroom alone. Guilt was consuming them both in this family tragedy. In December 1999, 5 months after Emma's disappearance, the case was officially classified as a cold case. The FBI continued its investigation, but resources were redirected to newer cases with more promising leads. For the Rodriguez family, this meant something unbearable. They had to move on, accept that Emma was gone, rebuild their lives without their daughter. But Maria Rodriguez refused to give up. She started a support group for families of missing children. She organized annual vigils at Disney World events that Disney subtly discouraged but could not legally prevent. Every year on July 15th, Maria returned to the It's a Small World attraction, holding a photo of Emma, asking guests if they had seen her daughter. Cast members were instructed to be polite, but to discourage such encounters. What Maria didn't know was that someone at Disney was watching these vigils very carefully. Someone who knew exactly what had happened to Emma Rodriguez, but had kept that secret for almost 20 years. Stay with me, because what happens next will completely shock you. The impact of Emma's disappearance rippled through every aspect of the Rodriguez family's life. Carlos, unable to cope with the guilt and constant memories, moved out in 2003. The divorce was finalized 2 years later in this heartbreaking family tragedy. Maria kept Emma's room exactly as it was the morning she disappeared. The belle costume Emma had worn that day was carefully preserved in a glass display case. Her books remained on the nightstand, marked to the page she was reading the night before her trip to Disney. Every night, Maria would sit in Emma's room and read aloud from Beauty and the Beast, the same book Emma had taken to Disney World. She read as if Emma were still there, still listening, still coming home. The community rallied around Maria in ways that restored faith in humanity. The elementary school where she taught created the Emma Rodriguez Memorial Garden. Local businesses donated money to search efforts. Strangers became family, united by a common hope in this emotional true crime case. But perhaps the most painful tradition was Maria's annual birthday celebration for Emma. Every November 12th, she would buy a birthday cake, light candles for Emma's age, and sing Happy Birthday alone in her kitchen. In 2004, Emma would have turned 11. Maria bought her a series of junior chapter books, the kind of books Emma had just begun reading before disappearing without a trace. The books remained unopened on Emma's desk. By 2009, on Emma's 16th birthday, Maria had begun to accept that her daughter might never come home. The birthday cakes became smaller, the celebrations quieter. But they never stopped this haunting story. Other missing child families began reaching out to Maria. She became an accidental advocate, helping dozens of families navigate the impossible reality of having a child who vanished without explanation. The Missing Children S Foundation that Maria founded in Emma's name helped locate 23 missing children between 2003 and 2018. Each reunion was bittersweet. Joy for another family, reminder of her own empty arms. Disney World continued operating as if nothing had happened. New attractions opened, new families made magical memories, new children laughed where Emma had last been seen. The world moved on. But every July 15th, Maria returned to that spot near It's a Small World, holding Emma's photo, asking the same question she had for 20 years. Have you seen my daughter? This missing child case never left her mind. What Maria didn't realize was that in 2019, someone finally had an answer to this shocking missing children case. On July 10, 2019, just 5 days before the 20th anniversary of Emma's disappearance, Maria Rodriguez received a phone call that would change everything in this cold case. The caller identified himself as Robert Chen, a former Disney World maintenance supervisor who had worked at the Magic Kingdom from 1995 to 2005. What he told Maria in that 15-minute call would finally answer the question that had haunted her for 2 decades. Mrs. Rodriguez, Chen said, her voice shaking, "I know what happened to your daughter, and I can't live with this secret anymore." This shocking revelation was about to break one of Disney's most disturbing unsolved cases. After 20 years of silence, the truth about Emma Rodriguez was about to be revealed. Robert Chun's confession to Maria Rodriguez over the phone was just the beginning. What he revealed to FBI investigators over the next 72 hours would expose a cover-up that reached the highest levels of Disney's corporate structure in this shocking true crime case. Chen explained that on July 15, 1999, he was working maintenance on the underground utility tunnels beneath the Magic Kingdom, a vast network of service corridors that most Disney guests never knew existed. According to Chen's statement, at approximately 2:50 p.m., he heard a child crying in one of the restricted areas near the It's-a Small World attraction. When he investigated, he found 6-year-old Emma Rodriguez with Thomas Mitchell, a Disney security supervisor. What Chen witnessed changed everything in this child disappearance case. Mitchell wasn't rescuing Emma, he was hiding her, and this wasn't the first time Chen had seen Mitchell with a child in the underground tunnels. Chen told investigators that Mitchell immediately threatened him. "If you say anything about this, you will lose your job. Your family will be destroyed, and no one will believe you," Mitchell allegedly told him. "Disney protects its own, and you are not one of ours." Terrified for the safety of his own family and his immigration status. Chen was a recent immigrant from Taiwan. He remained silent. But what happened next haunted him for 20 years in this child abductee case. Mitchell, according to Chun's testimony, had been using Disney's underground tunnel system to traffic children for more than a decade. The security supervisor had access to all areas of the park, knew all the camera angles, and could move through restricted areas without question. Emma Rodriguez wasn't Mitchell's first victim, and she wouldn't be his last. The FBI investigation that followed Chen's confession uncovered evidence of at least a dozen other missing child cases connected to Mitchell between 1992 and 2005. The Jacksonville storage unit that was discovered in 1999, it belonged to Thomas Mitchell. Inside, investigators found personal items of missing children dating back more than a decade, including Emma's Belle costume and her Beauty and the Beast book. But the most damning evidence was Mitchell's own records. The man had kept detailed logs of his activities, including photographs and videos that proved his involvement in child trafficking operations that extended far beyond Disney World. Mitchell had died in 2017 of cancer, taking his secrets to the grave. But his records led investigators to a network of individuals who had been complicit in these crimes, including other Disney employees and outside contacts. The FBI investigation revealed that Disney corporate leadership had suspected Mitchell of inappropriate conduct as early as 1998, but failed to report their suspicions to authorities. Internal memos raised concerns about Mitchell's behavior with children, but these were handled through HR rather than the police in this shocking truth revealed. Robert Chen's conscience had finally overcome his fear, but his confession came too late to save Emma Rodriguez or the other children who had disappeared during Mitchell's 13-year reign of terror at Disney World. Stay with me because the aftermath of this case will show you how the truth, even after 20 years, can finally bring justice. The revelation of Thomas Mitchell's crimes and Disney's cover-up sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and law enforcement communities worldwide. Maria Rodriguez finally had her answer, but the truth brought no comfort. Emma had died within hours of her abduction, her body disposed of in ways that made recovery impossible. The daughter she had searched for, hoped for, prayed for, had been missing since the first night in this heartbreaking missing children case. Disney Corporation faced a wrongful death lawsuit that was settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. The company also implemented new security protocols, including enhanced background checks, mandatory reporting procedures, and increased security camera coverage with no blind spots. 7 individuals connected to Mitchell's network were arrested and convicted. The investigation led to the rescue of 4 children who were still being held captive in 2019. 20 years after Emma's disappearance in this shocking revelations case. Robert Chen, the maintenance worker whose conscience finally broke, was placed in witness protection after receiving death threats. His courage in coming forward, despite the personal risk, helped close not only Emma's case, but dozens of other missing children cases in multiple states. The Missing Children's Foundation that Maria had created in Emma's memory received an outpouring of donations and support. The foundation has helped locate more than 100 missing children and provides resources for families navigating these impossible situations. Every July 15th, Maria still visits Disney World, but not to search anymore. She goes to remember Emma as she was a happy, innocent 6-year-old girl who loved Belle and believed in magic. But now she also goes to ensure that other children are protected from predators who hide behind institutional power in this child missing case solved. The Emma Rodriguez Memorial Garden at Maria Elementary School has become a place where families of missing children gather for support and remembrance. A small plaque reads, "Emma Rodriguez, forever loved, forever loved." Disney World remains the happiest place on earth for millions of families every year. But Emma's case serves as a constant reminder that evil can lurk anywhere, even behind the most trusted names and magical facades. If you or someone you know has information about missing children cases, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. No tip is too small, no suspicion too minor. Emma Rodriguez would have been 27 today. She never had the chance to grow up, never had the chance to read all the books in her room, never had the chance to see how much good her memory created in the world in this emotional, true crime story. But her story and her mother's incredible strength proves that love never fades, hope never dies. And the truth, no matter how long it takes, will always find a way to surface in these haunting cold cases. If you find this missing children case as disturbing as I do, hit that like button. Subscribe to Missing Innocence for more shocking child disappearance cases that were solved through persistence, courage, and people who refused to give up. Emma's light was extinguished too soon, but through stories like hers, we can help protect other children and ensure that no family has to endure what the Rodriguez family experienced in this heartbreaking child disappearance case. Before you go, make sure to check out this next video about another shocking missing children case that was solved after 15 years. The truth will leave you speechless.